Okay, good to go.
Hi, everyone. I am Lori Ann. I am that gal from Milton, Ontario, Canada, and I'm with.
I am that guy. I'm Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas. Welcome to our How We See It podcast.
And we are very pleased to have our special guest, Amy Zeal. Amy is I'm going to say this right, health and wellness fitness expert. She is also the 2016 Muscle Mania Miss Bikini America winner, which is just amazing. She's a really, really fit lady, and we're looking forward to learning more about her. Thank you, Amy, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Amy, I've got to ask you, how did you get started?
Well, I come from a professional dancing background. I've been dancing since I was 2 years old, and I went from tap, jazz, and ballet to competitive baton twirling. So I did that all growing up and then through my teens. Then when I was 16, I started having my boyfriend drive me into New York City to go take dance classes without my parents' knowledge because I wanted to be a professional dancer. So that started on my professional dancing career, which lasted about a decade. And I would have to practice. I'd have to practice my routines, then I'd have to rehearse. And it was really, really expensive to rent out studio space. So I decided to get a job in a gym as a personal trainer so I could use the studio space for free to practice my routines. So that's how I got my start in the whole fitness world. I needed dance rehearsal space.
That's very interesting.
So you already won that competition. When you were dancing that 10 years,
I won the competition way after I stopped dancing.
Right, but you had that success. But back when you were a professional dancer for that period, did you win any awards or contests when you were doing that?
I danced, my first professional dancing job was for Vince McMahon. I was an XFL cheerleader. It was like WWF, but it was the XFL. And I was in college and it was fun and it was a glam job and I was on top of the world and I was dancing in huge arenas in front of thousands and thousands of people on national television. So that's how I got my start in dancing. I also danced for the New Jersey Devils hockey. I was a power player for them. And I also danced for the New York Titans indoor lacrosse. So I did a lot of sports team dancing stuff. I danced at the MTV Video Music Awards. I did a Levi commercial. I've done commercials. I've done movies. I've danced in movies. So I really love to dance. I danced for a lot of the concerts, the local radio station concerts in the tri-state area in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. That's where I really got I was fit. I was athletic. I had to, stay in shape. So that's where I got my start.
I have a question because dancers usually have a very different physique than someone who's like, what would you call it, fitness, working the muscles. It's a different physique, isn't it? Or
well, it's not as, and to be honest with you, during my dancing days, I did not have the eating regimen and the workout routine that I had when I did my fitness competitions. I didn't know what I was doing. So I would do what I thought I should do, and I would lose 5 pounds, then I'd gain 5 pounds. I was a yo-yo dieter. I didn't do it the healthy way. Dancers have these ideas where you have to cut this out, cut that out, do this, do that, starve yourself, all these crazy, gimmicks to gain weight, to make weight for the show, or you have to look a certain way. And I would look great for the show. And then as soon as the show was over, I'd put on like 5 pounds. And then I would go to try and get a job and I wouldn't get the job because I was 5 pounds too heavy. So then I'd have to go lose the weight again. It was just this horrible cycle but a dancer has, you're still muscular, but you're softer. You don't have that hard defined, built, especially upper body. Now, I also was a gymnast, so I could do gymnastics. So I had the athletic build. I've always been very athletic, but I had a softer body as a dancer and obviously a harder body as a fitness competitor.
Well, let me ask you this. Is there anything you can't do or haven't done?
Is there anything I can't do or
Can't do or haven't done?
Flying. I'm working on that flying thing. You know, like not in the plane.
So what led you to transition? I would say, well, we already know that you transitioned, why you transitioned into the more of the body muscle building. And then now you're coaching. Well, you're not a coach, you're actually a fitness expert and helping others. What inspired you to do that?
Oh, well, actually, what happened was I was auditioning. I wanted to be a Nick City dancer. I had a couple athletic teams under my belt, and I always wanted to dance for the Knicks. And I auditioned for this team literally 4 times. I don't give up. I just learn and improve and, you know, go forward. So anyway, the final time I had auditioned for this team, it was the 4th time. And out of thousands of girls, they were down to the top 20, and I was one of the top 20. And on top of that fact, this is when reality shows like Making the Team were just coming out. So they followed 8 of us with a camera, and I was one of the 8 girls that they were following through this audition process. So I was thinking, oh, I'm totally on the team. You know, they wouldn't be following me if I wasn't going to be on the team. Well, they picked 16 girls out of the 20, and I was one of the 4 that wasn't picked. So I was devastated. I mean, you know, I'm there hysterically crying and the camera's in your face, you know, like you just can't. So I did something that you're not supposed to do. I went up to the coach and I asked her why I was cut. You know, why didn't I make the team? And she basically told me that I put on weight and I was too fat. So this rocked my world. I was like, I was devastated, you know, like it's something that I always wanted to do. And I had tried 4 times, 4 years in a row, and I was down to the wire. And I knew that not making the team this year, there was no other opportunity. Like that was it. I was done. So I decided to hang my dancing shoes up. I didn't want to dance. I said, I'm going to go be an actress in Hollywood. Forget this. So I picked my stuff up. I drove across the country with my friend to West Hollywood to be an actress. And I needed a job because I got there and I said, okay, I need to obviously pay the bills. So I got a job in a gym and I started working at Crunch Fitness. And I was the front door attendant. I worked at the juice bar and I was a group fitness instructor. And it was there that I had a mentor, and her name was Madonna Grimes. And she would always come up to me and be like, Amy, you need to be in fitness competitions. You need to go compete. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, who wants to do, like, I just didn't want to do it. And she'd always be like, if you compete, you'll win. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. Well, long story short, I got this job where I was dancing in China, and I was there for about 6 weeks. And I was there with one other girl who wasn't exactly the best roommate. And I didn't speak a lick of Chinese, so I had a lot of time to think, you know? And I was really unhappy with my weight because I lost jobs. Like the big job I wanted, I lost because I wasn't the right weight. And, you know, I said, if I'm going to be in entertainment for the rest of my life, I really got to get this weight thing down. You know, I want to be a weight that I'm happy with and I don't have to worry about, and I want to do it right, and I want my body tight and toned. So I said, how am I going to challenge myself to do this? Because I wasn't dancing anymore where I would prepare for an audition or prepare for a competition. So I said, I know what I'll do. I'll do a fitness competition. And so I hired a team of guys. I hired a team. There were like 6 of them. There was like a personal trainer, a fitness instructor, like a nutrition guy, this other guy who did measurement. Like, I mean, they all had these specialties. And they said to me, they said, the only thing you have to change is everything. It's a lifestyle change. And I was like, what? You know, like you think, oh, I'm going to just go work out for a couple hours at the gym and I'm going to eat a certain way. And that's not, they're like, you need to sleep differently. You need to eat differently. You need to work out differently. You need to think differently. You need to behave differently. Like your whole life has to be different. And so I did my first fitness competition. And to be honest with you, the goal I wanted was to be tight and toned. And I reached that. But the competitor in me, I was competing against 5 other girls. I was the 6th girl, and I came in 5th out of 6th. And I said, I'm never doing this again. This is like, I put in 4 months of blood, sweat, and tears. I was in the gym. I was doing all this work. I was paying all this money. And I came in next to last place. And literally, because I come from a dancing background, when you put that much work and time and effort and energy into preparing for something, I was used to doing like an hour-long show, or where you have costume changes and different music and like line changes and formations. And I was literally on stage for like 30 seconds. And I posed, and I was done. And I said, this is just, I don't know, these people are crazy to put themselves through all this hard work and you're up here for 30 seconds and then you come in next to last place. I'm like, forget this. I'm never doing this again. But what I got out of it was I learned how to eat properly. I learned how to sleep properly. I learned how to get my body, like my body never looked like that before, and that was the win for me.
If you don't mind me asking, when this happened to you, how old were you?
When I auditioned for the Knicks, or when I competed in my first fitness competition?
For the fitness, when you started working out for the fitness and you didn't make it.
It was 2011. So I'm 40 now. So what is that? I was 31.
31.
I was 31.
Sorry. So basically for almost 30 years, you were working out, you were dancing, you were competing in all of that, and you had a setback with the Knicks.
Yeah.
Right. And then you had another setback after putting all that hard work in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But since you're used to training, you're used to working out, you got goals, you're a competitor, you don't give up, then how did that impact you?
Well, I got to a point towards the end of the year where my body stayed, good for a little while, but you have to maintain, you have to just, if you have something and it's working, you got to keep doing it. And I got a little out of shape. And I said, all right, I need to get back into shape. So how am I going to do this? And to be really honest with you, I didn't want to spend money on a personal trainer. So I said, okay, if I'm not going to spend money on a personal trainer, what else can I do to challenge myself? Because I need to kind of like put fire under my butt, you know what I mean? Like I have to challenge myself. So I'm like, what else can I do to challenge myself to get myself in shape? And I wasn't doing any shows and I wasn't auditioning for anything. I said, why don't I do a fitness competition? I mean, it was like a $200 entry fee. So I'm like, all right, I'll pay the $200. And if I know in 4 months, I got to be up on stage with 50 other half naked ladies, I better look like I belong. So I have 4 months to figure it out. And so that's what I decided to do. And it was a local competition, but it was a world competition. And this one had 2 categories. You had bikini and you had theme. So you had a little more stage time. It wasn't like one shot, pose, and you're done. This was, it was a big stage and there was a huge production and there were lights and there was music and you had to walk a certain way and you had to like turn a certain way. Like it was a show, and I'm all about shows. So I said, let me go do this show and see how I do. And that's how I'll get myself into shape.
And so how did you do? So that would be what, in 2012 you did that?
Was that in 2012? I think that was it was either 2011 or 2012 that I did my second fitness competition. And maybe it was 2012 or 2013. I may have been in Vegas for a year because I moved from West Hollywood to Las Vegas because I heard the Pussycat Dolls were hiring, and I said I want to go dance for the Pussycat Dolls. And I had auditioned for this. I mean, I'm just a glutton for punishment. I auditioned for that team like 6 times. I mean, I was told no 6 times. And then finally I got this phone call and they're like, do you want to come dance for the Pussycat Dolls? And I said no, because I didn't want to go audition again and have them tell me no. Like, you told me no 6 times. What makes you think on the 7th time you're going to say yes? And they're like, we really need you. We promise we'll say yes. And so I was like, okay. And I went, I auditioned and I got the job. But again, I wanted to be in better shape than what I was. I still wasn't doing things right. You know, like it came and it went. It came and it went, you know, like I needed something to hold my attention and hold my focus. So I did the Muscle Mania competition to get myself back in shape. And that had to be either 2012 or 2013. And I came in like 14th out of 40 or 50 girls, which I didn't think was that bad. I'm like, I didn't have a coach. It was my first time doing this. You know, it wasn't like next to last place, like the last competition I did, you know? So I said, I'll take it. Not bad, you know?
Not at all. Out of 40, that's not at all. So then did you just then keep entering again? Because you said that in 2016, right?
I won in 2016. So I did 3 Muscle Mania competitions, and then I did 2 Muscle Mania competitions. I did one at Muscle Beach out in California. That's like the famous one, you know, that Arnold Schwarzenegger, and, you know, like I wanted to do it just because, I mean, like history was made there. So, and that was actually a really funny competition because it's outside. So if you know anything about fitness competitions, you get sprayed. They spray you that tan color, you know? So, and the climate, because it was outside, it was misting out. It was like kind of raining. And I was one of the last girls to get sprayed. So my spray it wasn't drying. And the way you keep your bikini on is with glue. You have to literally, you put glue on the inside of the bikini, especially because you shrink. You like, as you get close to the actual day of the competition, if you try your bikini on before you're at your competitive weight, you're a little bigger. So you shrink, but your bikini doesn't shrink. So there's like 2-sided tape that you can use, and there's this bikini glue. Anyway, the problem was my bikini was too big and I was wet from the spray tan. So my bikini wasn't staying up. It was rolling over and falling down. And so I'm like half wet, I'm half naked, and I can't get my bikini to stay on. I've got the thing on my head and they're calling my name to go out on stage. And I was like, what do I do? Like, I mean, do I chance it going out there and having my bikini fall to my knees? And I said, I just put in 4 months of blood, sweat, and tears to come this far. I'm going to go take my chances. And that's exactly what I did. I took the thing off my head. I walked out with my 2 fingers holding the bottom of my bikini up. And then when I had to do my pose, I kind of like took my hands off really quick and I posed, and then I put my fingers back and then I posed. Like, I wasn't exactly focused on the performance. I was focused to make sure I didn't expose myself, you know? And I came in 4th out of like, maybe there were like 15 or 16 girls. It was the best I had ever done in a fitness competition. But I still, you know, a coach was nice enough to pull me aside because I was doing all of this without coaches. And a coach pulled me aside and I said to her, I said, you know, I thought I would have done better than 4th. Why did I get 4th? And she's like, well, it's the details. Look, my bikini strap, like the strings were kind of long and hanging, you know, like my bottom was rolling down. My poses weren't exactly on, you know, like I didn't practice my poses enough. Like it was the details. My makeup, like makeup, you have to get your hair and makeup done for these competitions because the lights are so bright, they wash you out. Yeah, and they're judging you based on how you look on stage. So your hair and makeup has to be a certain way. Your color has to be a certain way. Like I've actually done competitions. I did a competition once where it was in Palmdale, California, and I'm in Las Vegas. And there was actually a competition locally. So I said, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll go to the local competition and get sprayed and then drive to the competition because you want it to kind of sit and soak into your body. Well, what ended up happening was whatever kind of tanning solution they used, I was sitting in the car and like in all the crevices, like the crevice of your elbow, underneath my arms, between my knees, started turning green. So I looked like I had moss growing in every crevice because I was sweating and I was driving and I was sitting. So I had to go. It was at a school. The competition was at a school. I had to rinse myself off in one of the school showers, and I had to get resprayed while I was down there. It was such a mess. I mean, I honestly ended up winning that competition with all of that, all those shenanigans going on. But that was after the big win. The big win was 2016, which I didn't know that I was going to win. I was only shooting for top 3. And the reason why I was shooting for top 3 was because the year before I came in like 19th and I placed so poorly the year before. I said to myself, what are you doing? Like why are you even doing this? You know, you're putting yourself in this scenario and situation. It's a competitive situation. You're a competitive person. You could do so much better. And I wasn't focused that year. I wasn't focused. My eye wasn't on the prize. I was heavier than I should have been. And I was really upset about it. So that's what kind of fueled my fire to, I hired a business coach actually, because I knew that I wanted to brand myself as a fitness coach. So I had a business coach and I wrote a book, you know, I was building my online presence. I was preparing for the competition to go, because the whole idea about getting in top 3 was to build my credibility as a coach. So when I would talk, people would listen to what I say because I walk the walk. And it just so happened that I won that year. Well, I won my division. It was the classic division. Classic, yeah.
I've got to ask you this. You say you were too heavy. How much is too heavy?
So I'm 5'4".
Okay.
And I like to be around 120, 122 pounds. And when I had moved to West Hollywood, California, the heaviest I was about maybe 136, 138. So for me, I was a good 10, 15 pounds over what I was used to carrying.
Yeah.
People have to understand too that, sorry, I was just gonna say, people have to understand too that 5'4", 122, but the muscle is mostly what you had, and muscle is way heavier than fat.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Muscle weighs more than fat. Yes,
yeah.
It does. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know, you said you had to make a total lifestyle. They told you need to do everything different when you hired all your coaches the first time.
Yeah.
So how did you take that? To me, that would just be extremely hard to do. I mean, I know you're used to competing and you're driven, but when somebody says, all this stuff you've been doing, forget that, you need to do this. How hard was that to make that adjustment for you?
It was difficult because, you know, one thing that people don't really understand is you need like a good solid 8 hours of sleep. And I was a night person and I would get somewhere between 4 and maybe 6 hours. So I had to force myself to go to bed early and get the adequate rest that was needed. They had me on the Paleo Diet. So if you could pick it off a bush or kill it with a spear, I was allowed to eat it. And I didn't really, that because I've done multiple fitness competitions and I've done my diet in multiple different ways. And I always did that on purpose because I said different people eat differently because they have different backgrounds, and not like one way is not going to work for everybody.
Right.
So I want experience with different methodologies of learning how to lose weight and learning how to define my body in different ways. This particular way, my first way, I learned paleo, and I didn't really count calories and I didn't count macros, but I ate a lot of steak and meat and vegetables and, cut out all the processed food, no refined sugar, no protein bars. Before that, I was doing everything. I was working out too much. I was in the gym for 3 hours. I would be eating protein bars and protein shakes and having way too much sugar. And I was stocky and I was heavy, and it like everything I was doing, was wrong, and I really thought I knew what I was doing, but it wasn't until I put myself under the direction and guidance of an actual professional that I could make the changes that I needed to make.
So then that segued you into becoming this fitness expert. I know that you have this new program that's coming out. Did you want to talk about that? 7 in 7?
I actually, I just changed the name.
Okay.
Because I decided that I can't promise that everybody's going to lose 7 pounds in 7 days. I just thought that was, and I didn't want there to be a credibility issue. So I came up with a secret Zeal formula, lose weight and gain endless energy. So that's going to be my program that I'm promoting. And it's on a platform called Mastermind. It's a new platform that Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, and Russell Brunson put together. And you can actually go on this platform, and there are informational programs on there that you can purchase. Or if you want to sell your own program, you can go on there and insert all your content creation and whatever your program is, and you can sell your program on there. So that's where I'm selling my program.
That's fantastic. Actually, I like that. I like that title better too, because it's something that sounds more like it's a lifestyle rather than just doing 7 days and letting go. Because
I did a sample. I like to ask my audience what they want and what they're looking for. And a lot of people told me that they really wanted something that they could maintain. It isn't just about losing it. And I could tell you exactly what to do and you'll lose the weight, but it's about keeping it off and maintaining it, which is the important part. So that's what I talk about a lot in there, how to keep it off and maintain your release.
Yes, not necessarily what they call their, the change of mindset would be, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change.
It's a lifestyle change. The word, if I'm talking on the fly and I say your diet, meaning the food you're putting into your system, or it could be the words and the information, your informational diet. But diet usually has a negative association with that word, so it's best not to use it. But a lifestyle change, because that's really what it is. You're changing your lifestyle, and these are new habits that you're creating, and it's a new way to think and a new way to look at your food and a new way to look at your behaviors.
It's true. There's a few words that have done that through the decades, right? Where, words are interchangeable. Sick can be, that's not good, or sick can be, that's great, depending on what generation you're in. And diet, again, it's it used to be what you eat, and then it just got taken over by the weight loss industry. So And I know I understand that's not the actual original definition of diet, but it's just unfortunately become that way. But
Yeah.
thanks for that.
Healthy lifestyle.
Yep. A healthy lifestyle.
And that's what people, I think that's what they're looking for now. Is not the newest diet or the fad or whatever. They're looking for, I'm looking for make myself healthy, the lifestyle I can maintain, just like you said.
Yeah.
I don't, I look at the pictures of you and I'm going, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. So there's got to be realistic as well. I mean, we look at Amy, you're going to sit there and, if you guys are here and you go to her websites, you'll see that, don't worry, she's not asking you to attain her levels of fitness, but to get more fit. Because
right. It's about feeling good. It's about having energy. It's about proper amounts of sleep. It's about that health and vitality that, we walk around and we're more productive and we just feel better. It's a feeling that's really most important for me that I can impart upon anybody else, and sometimes, people have, I don't want to use the word sick, but, not nourishing your body for a really long time, you don't know what it feels like to be nourished properly. And then, I say, hey, why don't you go pick up some green powder? And people are like, what is green powder? And I'm like, it's a superfood that you're gonna get energy and you're gonna feel really good when you give it to your body, because it's what your body needs, because you're probably not getting that in your body because most of the food that people eat these days lacks it. It lacks the nutrition, and not everybody can afford organic, and even in the organic food, it's questionable and debatable how many nutrients are actually really in those foods. So I'm a firm advocate of proper supplementation as well with whole foods.
Absolutely. And it does change your mindset. I find, you can, like you were saying, it's not just like it's feeling good, but also I think you become more, I know because I've been there and done that, but you become more positive, a lot more productive, like you said, but even mindset is a lot more positive. And if you're going through anxiety, it's really changes that, and it can help that by far.
Yes. Yeah. Eating the foods we eat do make a difference, especially when it comes to anxiety. There's something to be said about chicken, like not like you have the regular chicken, and then you have the free range, non-GMO, like no hormones added, that kind of stuff, and how they actually kill the chicken and raise the chicken will make the difference between anxiety and no anxiety, because you're taking those hormones into your body and it has an effect. It really does.
Interesting.
So what would your one tip be to people that are trying to have a healthy lifestyle?
My one tip is to start small and start manageable. So I would change one thing, and it would be like, okay, let's take the soda, and instead of having soda, let's substitute it with like a 0-calorie option. They have that Zevia. Zevia is a no-calorie soda that they make that has no sugar in it. It's a healthy soda. Now, I'm not telling you to get rid of soda. I'm telling you to substitute it with a healthier option.
Right.
Because what people don't understand is we're creatures of habit. So if I say, take all the sugar out, and don't replace it with anything, that sugar was actually doing something for you. It was fulfilling a need. You have to make sure you continue to fill that need with something else. So you would have to replace it with maybe stevia. You're still getting that sweetness, but you're not having the horrible effects of sugar. So I say change one small thing in your diet, and maybe you do that for a week or 2 weeks. And then when you have that under your belt, you change another thing.
Yeah, that sounds great. So, Lorianne, do you have anything else?
No, I think this is absolutely wonderful. Well, I do, but we would probably go on for another half hour. So.
Well, Amy, we should appreciate you being here. It was really enjoyable talking to you.
Oh, it was my pleasure with both of you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks.
Do
And
you
before
have-
you go,
Go ahead, Lorianne.
I was just going to say, before you go, please let people know here where they can find you.
Oh, okay. So my website is www.amyzealcoaching.com. You could find me on Facebook under Amy Zeal. My Instagram is Amy_Zeal. And if you'd like to buy my course, it's at mastermind.com.
Perfect.
Great.
And what is the name of your course if they're going in there?
The Secret Zeal Formula.
Okay.
Perfect.
Great name.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Yep.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Roy.
All right. It was a pleasure.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.